the possibility right in front of you, you shouldn't lose hope. You should still keep working for it, striving for it, because one day it will happen.
Hi everyone! This is a podcast with two Asian American women
sharing and learning about everyday life experiences cross-generationally.
Hi everyone! Welcome back to our show. We are so excited to have you here in another segment of Inspiring Immigrants. And we have a very special guest on today talking about her story and the robotics area. World. I was going to call it
world
academy.
Of robotics.
Yes. So we have Kalai Sankar, and she is the founder of Shiva Robotics Academy. She's also a TEDx speaker and got her robotics certification at Carnegie Mellon University. Let's welcome Coach K.
Thank you, Eli, for that wonderful introduction. I'd like to be on this podcast. You are doing a wonderful job, and Ellen, you make it very engaging and entertaining. So nice. So I look forward to the conversation, and it's going to be a fun one.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, Kalai Sankar also goes by Coach K, so feel free to call her either.
So, Ely kind of gave you a brief, the professional introduction, but I want to kind of pull out a little bit more of you as a woman, as a person, as a, your story. So can you tell us a little bit about you, your story, and your immigration story of coming, she told me a little bit about you. So just kind of tell us a little bit about your background.
So I'm a mom, I'm an educator, I'm a passionate Indian dancer, the classical dancer, and I'm an art-loving person. So welcome to my living room. So all the small trinkets, art and craft that you see around here, it was all done by me. I love art. So right from my childhood, I was always intrigued by puzzles, putting them together, and with collage work. And we have a competition called Art from Waste in our school. So you just take the things which we just throw it away. You have to make an artwork out of it. So that was the first part. So I created amazing art pieces using the waste, So that kind of, that's what I'm doing right now too. It's kind of like STEM. So we build robots using everything. So some of our older students, when they build a robot, it has cardboard pieces, duct tapes, zip ties, and even we have used pool noodles, to put together, add motors and build robots. So that's how it is. And coming here to US, my husband's job, it brought us here. Before coming to US, we were in Singapore for 6 years. So in 6 years, we felt like we have explored everything, because Singapore, as they say, it's just a small red dot. So from one end of the country to the other, you can just go in 45 minutes. So after 6 years, we felt like we wanted new challenges, new opportunities. So that's when we spread our wings here and we came here to US, and it's been a glorious 18 years now, and I'm still not bored a day. There's always something new to explore every single day. I love this country, the land of opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, what part of India, did you grow up in India? And what part? Yeah. Okay. Tell us a little bit about that, your story growing up.
Were you in a big city, a smaller town?
Yeah, so I grew up in South India. The name of the city is Madurai. It's pretty popular. It's a very traditional city. It's very popular for its architecture. And the one of the landmarks there is Madurai Meenakshi Amman Temple. So it's a stone temple. There are so many great, sculptures there, which you can just sit and wonder. Human emotions, it brings out through the stone, and you can see the carving is so intricate. Even the body parts like veins, arteries, you can see in a big statue made out of stone. So that's a very popular temple there. So that's where my entire childhood was. And now I felt like even back then, thinking back, I felt like it was very limiting. So I would journal. I want to live in a city close to a beach, and I want to, just like, I always loved the vastness. So in my childhood, I would always go up to my terrace and I would look up at the sky and I would keep imagining of all the possibility that's going to come in my life because back then, I mean, I'm the first generation woman who is working outside my house. So everybody, my mom, my aunts, my grandmother, everybody was working. They were like big decision makers, but they were working only, contributing only to the household chores. So I would just always like be in the terrace and imagine myself doing great things. Always I loved sitting, having a desk and sitting at a chair and doing the office work and things like that. I'm so glad everything it has come true.
Well, it's neat that it's beautiful that what you wrote in there is actually what's happening, and that the power of visualization going on to the coaching and psychological side, being able to imagine something. The top performers do it in any arena. So you imagined it, you wrote it down, and you made it happen. Like it's reality right now. You worked, so I'm curious what that, because coming here, there was probably, were there any challenges for you? Because it's a big move,
Well,
right?
you went from India to Singapore, you said, right? So how did that happen? Was it because of school? Was it like, how did you go from, I mean, because that's strange to me, India to Singapore. What's in Singapore?
So how it happened was, so I was in Madurai and I would have just gone, the circumference wise, no, not much, I explored Madurai and all other different cities in Tamil Nadu or like maybe the neighboring state. That's it. So, I'm from India. Everybody asks me, have you seen the Taj Mahal? No, I have not even gone to North India. So that's how limiting it was. So with the kind of background and the economical status, or like we didn't even think, we should go and see Taj Mahal or anything, because that's how our belief system, mindset, everything was so limiting. And I would say marriage, it played, like marrying the, the perfect fit, the best guy, it changed my whole life. So marriage was like brought me from Madurai to Bangalore, so which is like a very urban city. So that's where the spark happened, and I saw all these young women who were. I got married when I was 20. So all these 20-year-old women, they were like living their life, and I was sitting at home and cooking. So they were like living it all. They were very confident. The way, the gait with which they carried themselves, that impressed me a lot. And then, I started to keep my skills very sharp. I would read newspaper every single day, and whatever was in technology, I would keep myself updated. I was a very vivid blogger because all that I had was one computer at home and I made the best use of it. And I kept my skills very sharp when I was in Bangalore, and my husband's job took him to Singapore, and I followed along. So when I was doing it, I would just, as a side hustle, I would just do like a flyer designing, website designing, and I would do whatever was possible in my own niche because I had two small kids, and soon after marriage, I gave birth to my two daughters. I was a very young mom, so I was educating them, giving them all the possibility that I could give them in Singapore. And I kept my skills sharp, and that's what helped me because for 15 years, I was just working inside the home as well, doing all like side hustle, elance, and everything. And after 15 years, just like a bamboo tree, the roots, it gets very strong, and boom, the Shiva Robotics Academy was launched. So I would say, it's just like marriage, it saved me, but most of my cousins or like ladies my age who are back in India, so sad to share, they are still not able to, come out of that shackle and show the world all the potential that they have.
That they have.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful that you could be an example for them too, and they can see that it's possible. Because sometimes that's just what it takes for someone to think that it's possible. Because we've had people, guests on too, who they grew up in environment like yours, and they didn't know all the possibilities, and they are the ones that, so you, Kalai, are the one that's a model for an example for everyone who doesn't think that it's possible, and maybe just that little bit of hope that they see because they see you doing the things that you want to do. I also, and I also loved how you started doing it before, before you were going to do it. So for 15 years, you were blogging, you were working towards it, because that's interesting, because I don't know if I would have thought of that, right? Because you're so busy raising kids, right? I think when you're busy raising kids, that's the primary focus, but you still made time for yourself in those moments when there was a lot going on. So you set yourself up to grow the business and start the business.
Yeah, that's the thing. So sometimes when you don't see the possibility right in front of you, you shouldn't lose hope. You should still keep working for it, striving for it, because one day it will happen. So I feel very grateful. So when you make a mention that I'm able to be, and other ladies or other women back home, if they see me, they see a possibility. It is possible for them in their future. I feel very grateful, because I saw one such lady in the first robotics event. When I went with my daughter, she was a participant and I was a very active parent volunteer. I saw only one person, one woman volunteer. So she was a referee and she was like arranging all the mission models on the robotic table. And she was a museum curator. So she worked very meticulously. And I saw all the respect which all these other male coaches were giving her. And I thought one day I want to become like her. But she was the only one. But I thought, okay, that's what I want to do, because though I'm a graduate from computer science, I was teaching coding for my daughter's team. Nobody took me seriously. They thought I would just be a mom driving in my minivan, chaperoning, bringing snacks and arranging for, get-togethers for the team. No, I'm not it. I'm the one who's teaching coding for the team. But nobody thought so. So that was like when I saw her, Lisa Lovelace. So she is one of the volunteers with the Big Metal Robotics team here in Jacksonville. It's Team Resistance. So as you said, it's very true. Sometimes you have to see it so that you can put yourself in their shoe, and then you can just reach there.
Yes, yeah, that's beautiful. There's a story of the 4-minute mile too. You remind me of that, where no one thought it was possible in history to hit the 4-minute mile. So, but then this one person did it, so for years and years and years, they thought it was impossible. And then this one person did it in 1 year, and that next year, I think it was 15, or it was a significant number after that, did it in that next year. And so it just takes that one person, and you are carrying that legacy forward, which is
Thank you so much. So after I became a robotics coach, so our team was the first one to get selected to state championship. So this was in the year 2014. So when we went to state championship, it happened in University of Central Florida in Orlando. So myself and one other female coach from Miami, we were the only two coaches, and out of all the 48 teams there, and I got the best coach award there. And as you said, the next year, there was 30% increase in the number of female coaches. So, which is like, until then, all the women who were playing, who were, kind of in the back burner, not taking up that role. So from lead coach 2, they had the courage to become the lead coach 1. So that was like a very pivotal role in my life. In 2014, when I got the best robotics coach of the state award, that improved my self-esteem a lot. Until then, I had that doubt. Am I the best one? Am I giving it all? So sometimes those awards, those recognition, they mean a lot. It's for your own thing to boost up your courage. So
that's amazing. Amazing story.
Kalai, can you rewind a little bit and we went from Singapore to, okay, we started Shiva. How did it actually start? How did this robotics company or you being in robotics? Is it because you're a computer major? Like, what is it that started this
Academy.
this academy for you?
Yeah, so Shiva Robotics Academy, it's an educational institution where we teach STEM for kids from preschool all the way through high school now. But how it all started. So I would say, wherever you are, you have to live life with full of jest and valor. So I'm here, I'm going to live my life fully. So that's how I felt, I was on a H4 visa where immigrants are not allowed to work, right? So when people say this is not for you, then you want it more, right? So since I could not, earn a salary, I would volunteer everywhere. I would volunteer at my, daughter's school. I would volunteer at the library. I would volunteer at a spiritual organization called Isha Yoga. So everywhere, wherever, I could live my life fully, I was doing it. So that's what they say. When you're a volunteer, you are a yes, yes, yes to life, When you're an employee, when someone says, should I do that? But when you're a volunteer, you're willingly, okay, let me do it. Let me take it up. So I would say my active role in volunteering. So for 4 years in my daughter's school in Jacksonville Beach Elementary, I was volunteering. I was volunteering with the kids. So the coding, which I know in computer science, I was a valedictorian. So my strength is coding. So I would teach the kids and the team. They excelled. So they showed it's the success of the team that brought the spotlight on me. So when the team was winning in every single tournament, and I was volunteering there relentlessly for 4 years, and even like last week when I met the principal, she said, so when your daughter was here, she was in fourth grade, right? Yes, so now she's in college. So after 4 years, the principal, she saw the commitment in me and she helped us to become an approved vendor with DCPS. So she showed me this is the application. So to become an approved vendor, what do I do? So it was like reverse engineering. You need to have a LLC. So how do I start a LLC? So it needs to be, since you're working with the kids, it should be a licensed childcare. So I don't have a facility. All that I have is my living room. So what do I do? So right in this living room, I started my first licensed daycare. So that's how it started. So it was all like working in reverse. So it was like working with just 5 kids, my daughters and their friends and that team. So now instead of having the team, the Jacksonville Beach team, plus this was a community team. So then we took them to competition. So 5 became 10, 10 became 20. And now this past summer, we were offering classes for 900 students just in 5 months. So that it has been an explosive growth. So I say when you're burning with passion, people will come around you automatically and they will uplift you. So that's how it happened. And then when you put in your 100% work, everything falls in place. So when the daycare, it was to the maximum occupancy. That's when I got my work permit, EAD. So Obama, just as one signature, it helped me to get EAD. So when you put in your work at the right time, the right things will happen. So I got my work permit. And soon after, the very next month, we opened the 3,400 square foot facility in Beach Boulevard. So it's in one of the very primary roads. So it all happened.
Did you all hear what she said? If you put it in your mind, it can happen.
And just you worked with a lot of the things that you had, because they said not to work, but you still worked without working, right? So you still gained that experience. And I don't know if I would have thought of that. Oh, maybe I could volunteer, or maybe I can do something else. It's not work, but it's probably it could be even better than work, because you're still gaining that experience and getting to do a lot of different things too.
Like you know the how you say the stops, right, on the road. Like, you know that you're going to get here. This is where you want to be, okay? You know the destination, right? And you're like, how am I going to get to that destination with what I have? So let me curate that path. Like, and that's what I really liked about what you said. Because, like, everything that you've said from the time we started this conversation, it's like, I came from a small town. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to look out in the world and I'm going to wish this. How, you were always like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How do I make it work? And that's what to me is so, it's a very motivating. You're very good. You're a very motivational, person because I can understand why you're a coach because you're like, no, you can do this. You can do this and make it work. You'll find a path. Yeah.
I'm a go-getter. I don't settle for the first no. I keep trying. Okay, why don't we work it this way, that way, that way,
Right.
somehow. And when you just try, put in all the effort, universe will definitely budge and it'll give what you need. And
Yeah.
and when I was running it as a daycare, I did a flyer and it was with the theme colors, yellow and blue. So that's how I designed it. And I would keep looking at this flyer. And at one point, when we reached the maximum capacity, my house would be filled with a lot of 30 kids. And it wasn't so pleasing for the neighborhood. They said, no, too many traffic kids in and out. So you all need to find a different place and move. So I would keep staring at this flyer. It's like bright, vivid yellow and blue. So where are we going to find this place? And then just by coincidence or what, in a couple of weeks, I see this big facility, a daycare for sale with a blue and yellow theme. It was painted with white.
So it's like some, the universal saying, hello, hello.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is like a big sign, but this is a big investment to make. Give me some sign, give me more sign that this is a place for me. And the address of the place, it happened to be 3 digits of the address of the place. It's the same sequence of my phone number too.
So there's a lot of that fate destined thing going on.
I wouldn't call it as a superstition, but it's kind of like when your thoughts are so strong and single focused, it materializes itself.
Yes.
That's beautiful, and you're an example, a huge example of a beautiful example of what that does. The power of visualization, the power of seeing things before they happen, the power of asking the right questions too. Because I think that you asked, well, how can I get there? Versus I can't get there. I'm in this small town. I can't get there. That's a limiting question. You asked for kind of that unlimited possibilities type question to get where you are now, because some people might go by that same building and have that same experience, but they might not be open to seeing it. So you opened yourself up to believing it and seeing it everywhere and listening.
But I think, not to get away from the topic and not to get in too deep, but sometimes though, when things like, when we define fate or destiny or whatever, sometimes it's right there. You know what I'm saying? It's right there. We just never actually pause enough to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe with you, you're passing by there. I don't know how many times you might have passed by that sign, and it took for that one day for you to go, wait a minute. that's blue and yellow, like, right?
Off all those things. It's right there in front of you. Sometimes you have the blurry vision not to see it. So dusting off of all those, that's when the spiritual element comes in. Spending some time sitting down and meditating, or like clearing your mind. That's when it comes in. And as I said, you have to try. So it wasn't like a straight path, right from being a stay-at-home mom to a robotics educator. It was like I was trying so many other things on the side. I would teach workout for the ladies, for Indian music, because I learned classical Bharatanatyam. I called it Bolly aerobics. It's Bollywood music with aerobics workout. So I would teach that in my garage and in YMCA. So it's kind of all like voluntary work, but I called it Bolly aerobics. Did a little bit of stock trading and tried my hands at it, and actively volunteer in the Tamil Mandram. That's the language I speak, Tamil. So that they have an organization. So all this, it helped me gain my people skills. So through everything that you do, though you're not at the right door, not knocking the right door, but there's something in there for you. So
It's going to happen. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a great point too, because a lot of people think it is a straight line. It's from point A to B. Coach K got here so easily, but it's such a, and I love that you tried different things and knowing that they all will help you, even though you don't see it now too. You might not.
And it's not like just 24 hours working on the goal. There's a house to clean, there's two beautiful girls to raise, there's a husband to take care of, and your mind space also. When you're on H-1B visa, husband is on H-1B visa. When you're a H-4 immigrant, it's not an easy path, when there is like only this is allowed for you, and someone says only this much you can get. You feel like very limited. Why me? Why should I have to go through all of those? And a lot of other Indian ladies, have seen them go into depression. They have this beautiful engineering degree from India, and here they're not allowed to work. It was like so depressing for some of the ladies. So you have to try to align yourself again. No, there are good things coming in my way, and always like you have to stay up to date. So that's what I say. I read the newspaper every single day, and whatever is the latest technology, you have to keep learning. Be like a lifelong learner and keep updating yourself every single day.
That's such a great message. And you are such an inspiration to so many people, Kalai. And so I'm curious though, have there been any students, a memory, a story where they've inspired you?
Yeah, they did not just inspired me. The survival of Shiva Robotics Academy at one point is just because of some of our students. So what happened was, as I said, these 25 students, I took them to this new location. The capacity was 83. So we were like booming. We got some of the projects from City of Jacksonville. We conducted for 80 students from communities and schools of Jacksonville. We were doing a very flourishing summer camp experience for them. So the business was at its peak in 2019. So 2016, I started, it was explosive growth, and we were on News4Jax, Channel 4, very front cover in the newspaper. I gave 2 TED Talks. So it was all happening good. And during COVID time, suddenly, everything, it came to a standstill. So we didn't have other ways of doing it. So one of our student, Aid Musa, so he was so good in 3D printing. So he came up with the idea, why not we teach online classes to students to do 3D printing. So when nobody was coming to our camp at that time, so we started teaching 3D designing and 3D printing. And again, it was like reinventing myself and learning new skills. And with he was taking the initiative, and we trained other staffs. And after teaching to students here locally, we got this beautiful contract with Girl Scouts. So nationwide, in 3 different time zones for all the girls, we would teach them to design a keychain which had the Girl Scout logo, which had their name. They would design it, we would 3D print it, and we would ship it to them. And at that point during COVID, when everybody was like don't know what to do, what's going to happen. So this was a trinket which was like very inspiring for all these girls. So we kept in touch with them, inspired them to continue learning coding, Java, Python. So Aid Musa, he played a very big role, and he goes to Purdue now, and he's doing mechanical engineering. And it's like I'm very grateful to him, and the respect is very mutual. And he joined as an intern with the Mayor's Youth at Work program, and with his first job at Shiva, he bought his first 3D printer, and he gave back to us, and we helped him grow. That internship helped him to get like almost like 80% scholarship for his mechanical engineering. So it was a win-win for all of us.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The beautiful things that come out, and that you took the time to listen to him, because sometimes we might think like, oh, they're young, they don't know anything, or they're too young to have an idea, whatever. But you nourished that. You were open to taking that into consideration and listening to him, knowing that actually that sounds like a great idea, and trying it out. Because I don't know if just that thought of like, hey, it doesn't matter what age, what ethnicity, whatever. Like it's just that just being so open to different ideas is just
Yeah, so he is otherwise a very introvert person. He doesn't even talk with anybody much. But uh, when it was a best match, so he already had interest in robotics and mechanical engineering. When he came to Shiva, he found like the best fit. That's what most of the kids they feel at our robotics academy. They would have tried soccer, they would have tried chess, they would have tried other outdoor sports. Everywhere they feel like they are a misfit, and finally they find their people right here at Shiva Robotics Academy. So he would just do he would record videos which we would post tutorials on our YouTube channel, but otherwise he's a very silent person. And he said, my name Aid, not many of the teachers at my high school they even know my name, which is a very common thing with all our immigrants. Our names are very difficult, so some of them they don't even make an effort to learn our names or pronounce our names. They think we are invisible, right? So he became the robotics coach for younger kids at Shiva. So Shiva gave him the identity and he gave back to us as well. And the relationship, the human connections that we make, it's very lifelong. And then it's like we help the kids find their first job at Shiva. So most of the 16-year-olds, we apply for the Mayor's Youth at Work program. So this is directly by Mayor Donna Deegan right now. So I tag her in all our social media posts, and she's very proud of all these interns.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And you make a great point too of knowing everybody's names, like taking that time to know everybody's names, because sometimes you're right. People are so busy or it seems so difficult in their head. They just want to call you. I mean, Coach K is great too, but just take the time to know your name. It's Kalai and because that's a human connection to make them feel comfortable. So you took the time to know his name too, which I think is just, I think there needs to be more of that as well. I think just that time to remember and to know people's names, because there's that connection that we have when someone calls our name, when someone says our name.
And after being here for so many years now, if someone mispronounces my name or something, I don't mind. I just say a rose is a rose is a rose. By whatever name you call, still I'm the beautiful me. And same
I love that. What
bunch of students from Korea, from South Korea, they came as foreign exchange students. So from James Weldon Johnson, some of the students from here, they went to the sister city, Changwon. And those students, they came here. So they visited Shiva Robotics Academy. We have our branding everywhere, Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. And in Korean language, Shiva happens to be a bad word.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay, let's not say it.
So they were all like giggling, laughing, and we took time. We made the pop socket, which the teenagers can put in their phone, right? So we made pop sockets and gave it to every single one of them. They said, "No, we're not going to put it." They said, it's a bad word. And that's when I said, by whatever name you call, you're going to have a very engaging robotics activity here, which is going to, be very helpful in your life. So let's get to work and do it. And they were all fine. But then Coach K, it makes me feel like a superhuman, because after everybody, the same thing, when I was mispronouncing my name, I thought, let me name myself. Okay. So Coach K, I came up with this name. So it's how many of them get a chance to name themselves, right? So when someone calls me Coach K, I feel like very empowered, because that's a name which I gave myself. Now it's easy to pronounce. Come on, call me. There's no way you can ignore me.
Yes,
And-
that's beautiful.
Yeah, and on that note, because of what you just said, Coach K, and the empowering, if I were to kind of tie all this episode and our chat with you all in one word, not one word, but one sentence, I think that the message that I would take is there are no roadblocks. I mean, because again, from your story being in the small, and because I can't say the town that you lived in, from there, Singapore to, being limited, like there was always a roadblock for you, but each and every single time you were able to get past it and move forward. And so very, very empowering story. Thank you for sharing it with us. Before we log out, can you, how would you like to, for people that want to find you, that want to find Shiva Robotics, how do they?
So we are very active with our website. It's SHIVA, shivarobotics.com. And this year we have partnership with Florida State College of Jacksonville. So we are able to offer the economically accessible robotics program. Robotics, all these kits, just this one robot which is sitting here. So this costs like $300 to $400. So it's very expensive. It's a very expensive hobby. All these are sensors, infrared sensors, motors. So through the partnership with FSCJ, we are able to offer this economically accessible program. So right there in the website, right on top, you have an application. So once you just fill the application, it'll just check the eligibility. So robotics is not just for like one segment of the society, it's for everyone. So right from the living room to Shiva, right now we are in colleges. So for this summer, we'll be offering our programs in 3 different locations, 3 different colleges, and making a positive impact in several kids.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on here.
Yes.
We appreciate your story and just your inspiration. You are truly an inspiration to us, and I'm sure everyone who watches this.
So Ellen beautifully put it. So there's no roadblocks. There are only building blocks, right? So we are changing life one building block at a time. And my spiritual mentor, he says, when he wishes someone, he doesn't tell them, oh, let nothing bad happen in your life. He says, like, he doesn't wish anybody like that. He says, like, let everything happen in your life, good and bad, let everything happen. So that's how I take life. What may come my way, I'm here to live my life fully.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you so much.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. It's such a pleasure. We'll take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Kalai. Coach K.
Thank you.
Take care.